Hello, this is UNIONE Global Discovery Series. In the previous video, we explained the difference between same orders and commercial orders. In this video, we will examine some common mistakes that new buyers make when entering international trade. Buying a product is only the beginning. Preparation determines whether that purchase can become a successful and sustainable transaction. Many new buyers begin by asking one main question: what is the lowest price? Price is certainly important, but price alone does not determine whether an international transaction will succeed. A low product price can quickly lose its advantage when documentation, logistics, compliance, or delivery problems appear. The real question is not only how much the product costs. The real question is whether the entire transaction can be executed properly. International trade has structure. A buyer is not simply purchasing products from another country. The transaction must connect documentation, logistics, regulatory compliance, and market positioning. Each element affects the others. A documentation problem can delay shipment. A compliance problem can prevent market entry. Incorrect positioning can make even a good product difficult to sell. Successful trade begins when the buyer understands this connected structure. The first common mistake is understanding documentation. New buyers sometimes believe that documents can be prepared after the order is confirmed, but documentation requirements should be checked before the transaction moves forward. A commercial invoice and packing list support shipment and customs procedures. Depending on the market, the buyer may also a certificate of free sale, certificate of origin, or letter of authorization. Without document readiness, even a good order can face unnecessary delay. Treating logistics as a simple delivery process. International logistics begins long before the cargo leaves the country. Production schedules must be confirmed. The goods must arrive at the warehouse on time. Cartoon information, packing conditions, freight schedules, and export procedures must be coordinated. A delay in one stage can affect every stage that follows. Logistics is not simply transportation. It is the coordination of the entire physical movement of the transaction. The third mistake is assuming that a product approved in one country can automatically be sold in another. Every market has its own import and product requirements. The importer may need legislation or a specific business license. The product may require safety documents, ingredients information, or regulatory approval. The label may also need local language, warnings, claims, or import information. Compliance is not an administrative detail. It determines whether the product can legally enter and remain in the market. Another common mistake is selecting a product before defining the market position. A product may be attractive, but attractive to whom? The buyer must identify the target customer. The retail price must fit local purchasing power and comparative conditions. The distribution channel must also match the product. A premium skincare product, a mass market product, and a professional salon product require different strategies. A product cannot succeed only because it is good. It must be positioned correctly. Many new buyers underestimate how much preparation is required before the first commercial transaction. Import approval may take time. Documentation must be collected and reviewed. Production and shipment timelines must be realistic. Payment, customs clearance, local delivery, and sales preparation must also be planned. Preparation may appear to slow the transaction at the beginning. In reality, preparation prevents larger delays and losses later. Good preparation does not block business. It protects business. Another mistake is focusing only on short-term price advantage. A very low price may look attractive today, but the buyer must ask why the price is low. Is the supply stable? Are there documents available? Is the remaining shelf life sufficient? Can the same product be supplied again? A low price without clear answers may create higher operational risk and lower transaction stability. The cheapest offer is not always the most economical decision. Professional buyers evaluate more than the immediate purchase price. They consider whether the supply can continue. They examine whether the communication, documentation, payment, and delivery can be repeated consistently. A single low-priced order may create a temporary opportunity, but stable supply creates stable cooperation. Stable cooperation allows both parties to plan inventory, marketing, distribution, and business growth. Long-term value is created through continuity, not through one isolated transaction. Stable supply does not happen automatically. It requires structure. Preparation comes what must be done before the order. Execution connects products, documents, payment, logistics, and delivery. Continuity means that this process can be repeated without creating the same confusion each time. When the structure is clear, both the buyer and the supplier can respond more effectively. Stable supply is therefore not only a product issue, it is an operational capability. Successful buyers do not begin with a purchase order alone. They begin by understanding the transaction. They study the product, the market, the documents, the regulations, and the supply conditions. They then prepare the required resources and timeline. Only after this preparation do they move into execution. This does not mean that every transaction must be slow or complicated. It means that speed should come from preparation. not from skipping necessary steps. Understanding the full structure improves decision quality. The buyer can compare offers more accurately. The buyer can identify risks before making financial commitments. The buyer can also develop more realistic expectations about price, quantity, documentation, and delivery. Better decisions reduce misunderstandings. They reduce unnecessary changes and operational friction, and they create a stronger foundation for long-term cooperation. Better trade begins with better decision. Structure builds trust between buyers, suppliers, and exporters. When responsibilities are clear, each party knows what must be prepared. When procedures are consistent, communication becomes more efficient. When transactions continue without repeated confusion, confidence begins to grow. Trust in international trade is not created by promise alone. It is created when preparation leads to consistent execution and reliable continuity. That is how a transaction develops into a long-term partnership. Preparation comes first. New buyers often focus on price, products, and immediate opportunities. But successful international trade requires more. It requires documentation readiness, logistics coordination, regulatory compliance, correct market positioning, and realistic planning. A low price may create attention, but structure creates continuity. Continuity builds trust, and trust supports long-term cooperation. Thank you for watching. Next video, G017, How Opportunistic Buyers Behave. UNIONE Global Discovery Series. Thanks again.